thank you, my friends, for listening to the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor here. Before we get started, be sure to check the links in the post below. First up, my friends at socialbee.io, your go-to social media management company there. I do all my social media through them, so you should definitely use them. Check them out. 14 days for free. No code, no credit card required. Check them out. You'll like them. When you like them, I like them, you will like them too. They could post so many integrations. I can't even spend, it would take me hours to describe how great they are. So check them out, socialbee.io. And then finally, for all of your live ticketing events, which I'll be mentioning shortly, Humanitix, check them out in the link below on this post as well. All right, my friends, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report.
Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you, my friends, for tuning in once again to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur hot dog eater, and welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent digital-only radio station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talk and music shows throughout the day. All we do is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I want you to be part of the conversation, so I want to hear from you. So you can find me on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, on the Cameo, on the Twitch, and now, yes, on the Threads, new by Meta, at Colt S. Taylor. And you can catch up on everything that I'm doing at ColtSebastianTaylor.com. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribed to the podcast version of this show at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. And, all right, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. But before we get to our first story, I want to give a shout-out briefly. I think I did this a week or two ago, but I'll give them another shout because they're a great company. They're called Humanitix. They are an online ticketing company, so if you're having an event, be it in person or online, and it needs to be ticketed, whether it's free or paid, you just need a little ticketing control. The folks at Humanitix are the best of the best. I love them. I use them for a few things. And the best part is their profits go towards nonprofits. They are a humane company, Humanitix. So check them out. There is a link in the post of this show. So check that out. Also, you go to my Twitter. I'll plug them every once in a while. But Humanitix, check them out. I think if you're going to have an event, they are the best ones to have to take care of your ticketing needs. This past week in the United States, as you may have guessed from the concussions on Tuesday, was the 4th of July. That's right, big 4th of July this week. And that means, of course, the annual Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest was held in Coney Island this year. They have it every year, as many hot dogs as you can eat in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. It's a hot dog eating contest. And once again, Joey Chestnuts at ate 62 hot dogs in a 10-minute time span, which is just crazy to think that is like a thing. Now, how long has this competition been going on? Well, my friends, since 1967. 1967, which was the centennial celebration of the hot dog. It was held on June 30th. And, these in the early days, these were held, in several times a year before it kind of became more standardized in the 70s and 80s and whatnot. But in 1967, the first winner was Walter Paul. He was a 32-year-old truck driver, and the prize was, quote, a trophy proclaiming him to be the world's greatest hot dog eater. He consumed the hot dogs over the period of 1 hour flat. He consumed 127. 127. But records are a little records are a little shabby back then. But anyways, this year Joey Chestnuts won again, his 16th championship win of hot dog eating contest. He is a professional hot dog eater, I guess you could say. So this happened on Tuesday. It was delayed for 2 hours due to some thunderstorms in the area. Asked about the weather delay, Joey Chestnut said it was a roller coaster emotionally, that everyone got messed up by the wait. Now, 62 may sound like a lot. Not his record. In 2021, he ate 76 hot dogs in a hot dog eating contest. Pretty impressive. He was hoping to break his 2021 record, but quote, it didn't come together, but he still felt great. Quote, I've got leftover room, so I'm going to have some beers later. Impressive. This is his 8th consecutive win, and he consumed approximately 18,600 calories worth of hot dogs. His win, he won by 13 hot dogs. Jeffrey Espert ate 48. And then James Webb, he ate 47. Oh, sorry. Jeffrey, who's aged 48, ate 49, and James Webb had 47. Earlier today, there is, of course, a women's hot dog eating contest as well, and Miko Sudo put away 39.5 hot dogs in 10 minutes to win the women's championship for the 9th time. She won 9 times. She fell short of her own record in 2020, where she ate 48.5 hot dogs and buns. You have to eat both. To win. Coming in second was Mayo Ebahara, who had 33.5. Michelle Lesko, who had 24.25. After the win, she said her final total wasn't a whole number because of a bun neither she or Lesko thought was hers. Officials ultimately decided it was Sudo's. Quote, I just want people to know that I would have not left a partial hot dog on that table, she said. They seemed to finish much closer in the live streaming event, with unofficial results separating them by 1. Sudo said everyday's eating style caught her eye during the event. Quote, I found myself watching her, which I never want to do. The judges tallied up the hot dogs, had discussion, and declared Sudo to be the winner out of 15 women. So, Joey Chestnuts is the all-time leader in terms of championships. He won 16 between 2000 and 2014, and in 2016 to 2023. Miki Sudo has won 9, with wins between 2014, 2020, and 2022 to 2023. Takaru Kobayashi had a string of wins from 2001 to 2006. He battled it out with Joey Chestnuts and whatnot. So it's I don't think he participates anymore. But those are the all-time winners of it. Then just for some historical trivia here and whatnot. The contests have been 10 minutes since 2008. In 2008, there was a tie, so there was a eat-off and whatnot, a 50-second eat-off. Like I said, Kobayashi won when there was a 12-minute contest. Most champions, this may not surprise you, have been from America. Japan, Kobayashi had won several times. There was a champion from Germany. And that's about it, really. Those are the, if you think Japan, Germany, United States, those are, the big 3 in terms of competitive eating, I guess. But anyways, Joey Chestnuts Joey Chestnuts has won yet again. 16th champion this week with his hot dog eating contest. It has, it's been going on since 1967, but it's gained a lot of attention in the last decade or so due to Joey Chestnuts and Joey the Jaw Chestnuts and Takeru the Tsunami Kobayashi. And then, of course, also in Coney Island, there is a hot dog wall of fame showing the countdown to the next hot dog eating contest, and also tells you what the current world record is for most hot dogs ate during a session. So if you want to train, you've got to do a lot of work, because that's a lot of hot dogs. And I can only imagine what the post hot dog bathroom activities must be like. We now go to Los Angeles, where there has been yet another wine robbery. That's right, I covered a story several months ago about a couple in Spain who has stolen a bunch of expensive wine. Well, burglars have stolen wine and liquor from a high-end wine shop worth over $500,000. Yes, $500,000 worth of booze was stolen from the store at the Lincoln Fine Wines in Los Angeles. It's in the Venice neighborhood around 12:30 a.m. last week. I have an alibi. A burglar was clad in a mask, black hoodie, and a red baseball cap, and could be seen on surveillance footage covering the lenses of the cellar's security camera, according to the manager, Nick Martinell. Quote, "It was something out of Ocean's 11. We just couldn't believe it," he told CNN. "The tape from the back of the 'Smile, you're on camera' was stuck to the cellar door was used to conceal the camera," he said. During the theft, which lasted over 4 hours, the thief looted wine cellar from the store's most rarest expensive wines and liquors. The owner of the shop said he's been unable to sleep soundly since the incident. Quote, "It's very hard for me to digest. All of my hard work snatched within a couple of hours." The thief exited the wine cellar to begin stealing the store's main shelves around 4 a.m. The store's sensors alerted him, who was home asleep, when the burglar fled when the alarm went off. When the owner arrived at 4:50 a.m., he said a shaft of early morning light streamed from a hole in the roof, illuminating the scene of empty shelves and shattered glass. He came in through the roof. Hoke said, quote, "I used to always think they could break in the door windows. Now they're coming through the walls. They come through the roof. You never know." Including some of the bottles that were stolen, or some that are just irreplaceable, including a collection of Quinteri wines. Other pilfered bottles include The Last Drop, a rare Scotch whiskey, whose 1971 edition is worth $6,000. Chateau Pertus 2016, which sells for $4,500, according to the store. Every bottle on the cellar's French wall, with an average of $1,000 of worth, was taken. The store is putting together a list of missing bottles to send to local buyers and auction houses, hoping that they'll make a mistake and try to sell these to these people. Quote, "I am still in shock and disbelief. It's really just surreal." Hope describes receiving an outpouring of love and support from customers and vendors since the theft. Some customers who hadn't seen since before the COVID-19 pandemic came to visit this week, buying 3 or 4 bottles or more than they normally would. Quote, "They're here to support me. That's a very strong message to me. That's helped me a lot to recover from the emotional stress." And apparently the incident is still under investigation from the Los Angeles police. I feel like these folks are going to get picked up. They're going to make a mistake, try to sell a bottle to someone who knows, like, oh, you're selling me this $8,000 bottle for $300? So we'll see if this comes up again. I, my friends, will tell you the results of this investigation. Next up, my friends, we go to Texas for a weird story. A Houston teenager was found after being missing for 8 years. Apparently, he has been home the entire time. He's been home the entire time. Apparently, this gentleman named Rudy Farias was 17 when his mother reported him missing on March 7th, 2015. He apparently came home a day later, but she kept saying that he was missing. So, this made, headlines oh, teenager found after 8 years. But then, wait, he's been home the entire time. They've just been lying to police. According to Houston Police Lieutenant Christopher Zamora, quote, Farias was, quote, not missing during the 8-year period. Police have been talking to the parents multiple times throughout these last 8 years, but they were giving them fake names. Quote, he made contact with patrol officers on our street. However, during these contacts, fictitious names and dates of birth were given to misleading officers, and Rudy would remain missing. In fact, both Janie, Rudy's mother, and Rudy himself gave fictitious names while interacting with various patrol officers. After investigators talked to him yesterday, it was discovered that he returned home the following day, March 8th, 2015. Even though he's been there, now adult people have seen him coming and going over the years, but he was being identified as her nephew and not her allegedly missing son. Quote, the mother, Janie, continued to deceive police by remaining adamant that Rudy was still missing. According to the police chief, Troy Finner, he said he doesn't know why Ferris's mother allegedly maintained that her son was missing the entire time. Quote, we can't predict motivation. So far, the prosecutors have declined to open a case against the mother or the son. He was found last week at a church 8 miles from the family's home, according to an investigator with Texas EQ Search, a nonprofit search and rescue service that helped search for Ferris. He was nonverbal and unable to communicate, his mother said in a statement, added that a good Samaritan discovered him and immediately called authorities, even though he's been there for 8 years. Quote, Rudy is safe, Zamora said. He is with his mother by choice. He is a 25-year-old man, according to the police. Asked whether he was a victim or suspect, the chief declined to say, saying, quote, the investigation is still ongoing, and I'm not going to say if he's a victim or not. Police said on Thursday that they didn't have all the details about their interaction with the police. The investigation is still ongoing. They could both be prosecuted for giving false information to a police report and whatnot. So we'll see what happens. Last week, Rudy apparently took his mother's car and she didn't know where he was. Quote, he left in a car and she didn't have a way to get to work, Ross said. She texted my cousin and said, have you seen my son? My cousin was like, no. So, weird story. I'm only going to guess that there's going to be a police report here about, giving a false police report, a misdemeanor, or there could be some mental health issues here that have not been fully disclosed. Now, what I'm willing to disclose to you, my friends, is, of course, the fantastic music we have here on AWSM Radio. And this weekend, we've got, of course, as always, my pal DC. DC is our in-house DJ, and he's here Friday night mixing it up in his show DC Live in Effect. You don't want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos, kicking the beats from South Florida every week. And then on Saturdays, it's House Party Saturdays, where DC brings you his freestyling DJing to the max. He's going to give you all the Miami vibes without actually having to be in Miami. From the top clubs to the bars, DC will bring the party to you. That's Saturdays at 10 p.m. And then Sundays at 10 p.m., it's DC Live in Effect yet again. So, just to review, Fridays, 9 p.m., DC, live in effect. Saturdays, 10 p.m. DC, House Party Saturdays. And then Fridays at 10 p.m. DC, live in effect, only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. We now go to music news with Aretha Franklin, who you may remember passed away 5 years ago. However, her sons are still battling over her estate. That's right. Her estate has not been formally taken care of, and is going to trial on Monday because there is apparently 2 handwritten wills, one of which was found in her couch cushions, and they're trying to figure out which will is valid. She did not have a formal typewritten will in place despite years of health problems and efforts to get it done, but under Michigan law, which is where this happened, it's possible to treat other documents with scribbles, scratch-outs, and hard-to-read passages as her final will. The dispute is pitting a son against other sons. Ted White II believes papers dated 2010 should mainly control the estate, while Keith Franklin and Edward Franklin favor a 2014 document. Both were discovered in Franklin's suburban home months after her death from pancreatic cancer in 2018. She was 76. Quote from Pat Samako, who specializes in wills and estates and teaches elder law at Michigan State University. Does it surprise me that someone passed away before they had the ducks in a row? The answer is never. This can be settled anytime on the steps halfway through trial, and hopefully it will be. Going to a jury trial is a war. There is a lot of money on the line here as well. When she passed away, it was immediately known that Franklin died without a will, which means the 4 sons would likely share assets worth millions, including real estate in suburban Detroit, furs, gowns, jewelry, future royalties from her work. A niece, Sabrina Owens, agreed to be personal representative or the executor of the estate. From Franklin's friend, businessman Ron Moten told the Sons, quote, "My advice, go slow, be careful, and be smart." However, in 2019, the estate was turned upside down. Owens reported that a handwritten will dated 2010 was found in a cabinet, and another handwritten will dated 2014 was discovered inside a notebook under cushions in Aretha Franklin's home. There are differences between the documents, though they both appear to indicate the sons would share income from her music and copyright, which seems to make the issues less contentious than a few others. Quote, "The interesting thing here is her legacy and management of her legacy and her royalties and the operation of Aretha Franklin business in the future. That's huge." The older will lists White and Owens as co-executors. It says Calef and Edward Franklin must take business classes and get a certificate or degree to benefit from the estate. But the 2014 version crosses out White's name as executor and has Calef Franklin in its place. There's no mention of business classes. Calef Franklin and grandchildren will get the mother's main home in Bloomfield Hills, which is valued $1.1 million when she died, but is worth much more today. Quote, "It's the crown jewel," said the attorney for Edward Franklin. Aretha Franklin wrote in 2014 that her gowns could be auctioned or go to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington. She indicated in both papers that her eldest son, Clarence, who lives under a guardianship, must be regularly supported. The two inconsistent wills cannot be admitted to probate. In such cases, the most recent will revokes the previous will, says Charles McLeave, a lawyer for Calef Franklin, in a court filing in favor of the 2014 document. But White's attorney says the 2010 will is notarized and signed, while the later version is, quote, "merely a draft. If this document were intended to be a will, it would have been put more care into it than a spiral notebook underneath a couch." This is why, folks, you gotta get your wills in order, my friends. Quote, if you're sitting on a Sunday afternoon and you start handwriting your wishes, the law allows it as long as the rules are followed. It's in your handwriting, it's stated, and it's signed, according to another lawyer. For 5 years, Aretha Franklin's estate has been handled by different times by 3 executors. Owens quit in 2020, citing rift among the sons. She was succeeded by Reginald Turner, a local lawyer that also served as president of the American Bar Association. His last accounting in March showed the estate had $3.9 million had an income of $3.9 million during the 12-month period and similar amount of spending, including more than $900,000 of legal fees to various firms. Overall, the assets are worth $4.1 million, mostly in cash and real estate, though Franklin's creative work and intellectual property were undervalued with a nominal $1 figure. Yeah, her work is worth more than $1. The estate since 2020 has paid $8.1 million to the IRS, which had a claim for taxes after the singer's death. The IRS claims took priority. The estate wasn't going anywhere until the IRS got paid off. So, that is the hot mess that is Aretha Franklin's estate. So, my friends, if you're a famous person with lots of money, or just like a regular person with lots of money and multiple family members, it's best to write out a will and have it notarized, finalized, review it every now and again, especially Michigan, because if you just write down, give everything to Colt Sebastian Taylor on a cocktail napkin, stick it underneath the couch, and someone finds it, if you signed it and dated it, guess gets who your money? Colt Sebastian Taylor. Woohoo for Michigan. So, I'll follow this. We'll see who gets Aretha Franklin's estate. Seems like it's a hot mess. Probably not going to be a quick trial, and it's probably going to drain most of the assets just to fight this out in court. In other music news, terrible news for Beyonce fans, especially who live in Pittsburgh. This week, her performance date on August 3rd on her Renaissance World Tour was unfortunately canceled due to production logistics and scheduling issues. The mayor, which is, I guess, the previous mayor, Ed Gainley, released a statement the following news. Pittsburgh, we are deeply disappointed in the news that Beyonce has canceled her performance on August 3rd. We were fully prepared to welcome her to Pittsburgh and honor her with an official day, recognizing her visit and accomplishments. We are in conversations with the promoter for the event in order to gain an understanding about what led to the cancellation and if there's anything we can do as a city to find a new date or location for her show. 2 other stops in Seattle and Kansas City have been postponed, with both venues citing the same reasoning. While those fans can try to move their schedule around to accommodate new dates, Pittsburgh Beehive, those are the Beyonce fans, who've been preparing for months for the show, are reacting to the news as no longer happening at all. Someone on Twitter wrote, I am so sad, disappointed. Imagine being a fan since the time you can remember, as young as 6, having your first Beyonce concert canceled. Pittsburgh, my heart is broken, honestly, and a month before the show is sick. Another fan said the Pittsburgh stop was, quite literally, the one thing I was looking forward to for the summer. Pushing through a day of work while knowing your Beyonce tickets just got canceled is so painful. This late cancellation also means it's probably too late to find replacement tickets on other stops of the tour, such as the sold-out Philadelphia show, which is close. It's coming. I think it's next week. Quote, we had insanely good tickets, mind you. This is from another fan. Because we signed up for the fan pre-sale. So it was inexpensive and really, really good seating. I'm trying not to keep crying. The equivalent to go see here in Philly next week, by the way, I contacted Etsy retailers to custom make me stuff, and it wouldn't even get here by next week, and I put deposits down. When I say it was going to be the highlight of my summer, and it was supposed to be a big weekend, this has been quite devastating for me. Worst of all, many people found out about the cancellation from Twitter before they were notified by Ticketmaster. Quote, I can't believe I found out my Beyonce show was canceled from Pop Tings, which is, I guess, a Twitter news person. This day is such a nightmare. Referring to a popular culture update Twitter account that falls below the tiers like Pop Crave and Pop Bass. I don't know what that means. Literally fell to the floor crying, I hate everything. Refunds will be issued at the point of purchase according to Ticketmaster. So, sorry Beyonce fans. Sorry Pittsburgh. I feel for you. I'm curious what the reason is why they canceled. They haven't really said why. Scheduling and logistics. So, I don't know. If it's because Beyonce wants to take a vacation, hey, fine, but you should throw Pittsburgh some love there, Beyonce. They're really upset they can't come and see you. And canceling a month before. Come on. In other music news, the Eagles, which is a band that your parents are probably very, very fond of, are announcing their final tour dates. Quote, this is our swan song. The Eagles are one of the most successful and longest-running musical acts in history of popular music. They have announced the first of what they're saying is their, quote, final tour dates. After 52 years, more than 1,000 concerts, and over 150 million albums sold, the group has announced initial 13 dates of their final farewell tour, beginning on September 7th in New York, with more dates to be added. According to the announcements, the Eagles, made up by Don Henley, Joe Walsh, Timothy B. Schmidt, with Vince Gill and Deacon Frey, will perform as many shows in each market as their audience demands, and the tour is expected to continue into 2025, so it's quite a long farewell tour. Steely Dan, the group's longtime friends and Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, will open the tour. Presented by Live Nation, there is a pre-sale tickets and VIP packages available starting Wednesday, July 12th for all announced shows, and then general on sale will start July 14th at 10 a.m. local time. According to a statement from the group, and which I will read here for you, the Eagles have had a miraculous 52-year odyssey, performing for people all over the globe, keeping the music alive in the face of tragic losses, upheavals, and setbacks of many kinds. Credit and thanks go to our longtime management team, our dedicated road crew, and our exceptional backup musicians for providing skilled and steadfast support throughout these many years. We know how fortunate we are, and we are truly grateful. Our long run has lasted far longer than any of us dreamed. But everything has its time, and the time has come for us to close the circle. The official farewell tour is currently in the planning stages. We want to give all of our fans a chance to see us on this final round, so scheduling information will be released as dates are set. The difficulties in booking venues for multiple nights may require us to return to certain cities depending on demand, but we hope to see as many of you as we can before we finish up. Most importantly, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for embracing this band in music. At the end of the day, you are the reason why we have been able to carry on for over 5 decades. This is our swan song, but the music goes on and on. With love and gratitude, the Eagles. So, some of the dates that they are coming, starting September 7th, and this goes through November 17th. I'll just name the cities, I won't name the dates, but they're going to New York, Boston, Newark, New Jersey, Belmont Park, New York, Denver, Colorado, Indianapolis, Detroit, Cleveland, Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh, Lexington, Kentucky, St. Paul, Minnesota, and then more dates will be released. They plan to go all next year and into 2025. So if you are a fan of the Eagles and you live in some of these places, tickets go on sale this week. Check them out. This is allegedly their final farewell tour after 52 years of music. Speaking of music, my friends, we've got a great music show here every weekday. That's Monday through Friday. It's the Rock Sessions. Rock Session is our drive time show here, making sure your evening commute home is fun, featuring the hottest music on the charts and some other surprises in between. My pal, the fantastic, lovely, beautiful, talented Rocks will make it rock style, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., Only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. We now go to sports, where there was a scary incident this week where a cameraman was injured by a wild throw at a Yankees-Orioles game. That's right. Pete Stendel of the Yes Network, and the Yes Network is the Yankees' own TV network. They have their own channel, I guess. Was struck in the face by a hurried throw in the fifth inning. Was being thrown from second base to first base in a double play attempt. Went over the first baseman's glove. It hit him straight in the face, knocking him back. He was injured in that. The game was delayed for 17 minutes as staff and medical personnel tended to the cameraman. He was then strapped to a stretcher and carted off the field. But as he was leaving, he raised up his hand and waved two fingers to a loud applause of the crowd of 36,000 people. After the game, the Yes Network said that Mr. Stendel was conscious and undergoing tests at the hospital. The Baltimore Orioles tweeted, sending Yes Network camera operator Pete Stendel all the best and wishing him a speedy recovery. Baltimore Oriole rookie shortstop Gunnar Henderson, who threw the ball, said, quote, every time that ball goes over the first baseman or even a foul ball from the hitter, you don't want to see that ever going towards a fan. He said in the statement, the Orioles did win that game 3-6. He continued saying, he just happened to be in the wrong spot. I hope he's doing all right. My prayers go out to him. I'm just thankful for the guys that rushed over there to help him. Baltimore Orioles manager Brandon Hyde added, it was a scary moment. He gave the peace sign coming off the field, but that was a tough to watch, and hopefully he's okay. Yankees manager Aaron Boone said, quote, it was good to see him obviously coherent and obviously raising his hand going off, but I saw it pretty well right away, and it was scary. I didn't see how he fell back, but I knew it could have been possible falling back on top of the impact for the velocity of the ball hitting. Obviously, a difficult scene there. I just hope he's okay. So, fortunately, if you're going to get hit in the face with a baseball, there's probably no better place to do it than a baseball stadium because there are trained medical personnel there to take care of you. So he went to the hospital. He's probably getting amazing care. I'm sure the Yankees Yes Network have pretty good health care, so he is currently getting treatment in a local hospital in New York City. Now, speaking of sports, we do have two sports shows here on AWSM Radio, both on Wednesday nights. First up at 9 p.m., all times Eastern, obviously. At 9 p.m., it's To the Rack with Mac. To the Rack with Mac is your go-to spot for all things basketball. Join NBA expert Mac Daddy as he brings you a full hour of high-flying hoops expertise for all things NBA. Tune in Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. And then, my friend, at 10 p.m., it's What's Going On. What's Going On is our Fox Sports affiliate show, providing listeners with over 150 combined years of sports knowledge. Hosted by Nate Brown and his crew, they have been a staple of New York sports for the past 2 decades. And now, my friends, they are moving national. They are national. They're here Wednesdays at 10 p.m. So just to recap here, 9 p.m. To the Rack with Mac. 10 p.m. What's Going On? Only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. Finally, this week, some business news. The June jobs report came out, and 497,000 jobs were added in June, more than double than expectations. Red hot job market, historic low unemployment. Dow Jones did not like that. Why? Why is adding more jobs bad? I don't personally quite understand completely, but the idea was that I guess the more jobs they add, the more inflation pressure there is. I don't know how it works. Could be a big Ponzi scheme. I don't know. But anyways, almost 500,000 new jobs were added in June. They're expecting 220,000, with leisure and hospitality industries leading new hires with 2,300 new hires. It's a red hot job market, folks, so They're out there. Well, my friends, that just about wraps up this week's Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Remember, you can find me on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, and now on the Threads, the new Meta app Threads, at Colt S. Taylor, as well as on Cameo, Calendar Social, Twitch.tv at Colt S. Taylor, and of course, catch up on all my adventures at ColtSebastianTaylor.com. And then finally, folks, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the podcast version of this show at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. Shows posted Sunday afternoons after the last rebroadcast on AWSM Radio. Well, my friends, until next time, I am, of course, your friend, Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later. And thank you once again for listening to the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, on AWSM Radio, broadcasting Saturdays at 11 a.m. at awsmradio.com. Be sure to check out the links that are below in this post on anchor.fm or YouTube. The folks at socialbee.io, as well as the folks at Humanitix, two great companies that I use and that you should use too. Okay, until next week, once again, for the podcast version of the show, I am, of course, Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later.